All right, what is going on today? Today I got the chance to speak with Heather Retlane, and she's somebody who, when I met her, she was a personal trainer at a gym that we used to work at, and since then she's taken her life and given it a full 180 spin. She's moved from Vancouver to Sydney, Australia, and we kind of spoke about that experience and how it impacted her, but what I really thought was cool was her perspective on mental health, NF1, which is something that she deals with and speaks about pretty openly and authentically, and just learning how to love yourself and love your body. So I think this is a really cool conversation. I had a lot of fun doing it and it was fun catching up with her. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I'll throw her Instagram just below, like right here, and then you guys can go check it out. If you are brand new to this kind of content, then basically what I like to talk about is, mental health, self-development, good vibes, and just kind of the pursuit of happiness. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to, jump on in and, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and get notified when I do put out content like this, because I think it's really helpful for people to hear different perspectives and different experiences that, different people have had. And if you are subscribed, if you are somebody who's seen this kind of stuff before, thank you so much for supporting this kind of stuff and, really spreading the message of positivity and the fact that, we're not alone. So thank you guys so much for this. I hope you guys enjoy this video just as much as I did. Bang! We are recording. I don't know why I always say bang, but bang.
That's
we
okay.
Are recording.
It just starts it up, gives me a fair warning.
Exactly. Bang! We're recording.
All right, let's do this. We're ready.
Today, I am here with Heather Retlane, and I've kind of known you for a couple years now, but I'll let you do your intro because you've got some huge news to share. So throw your Instagram out there and tell people what you're all about.
All right, sweet. Well, hello everyone. I'm Heather, obviously, as Mark just said. So we met back at Steve Nash a few years ago and we were working together. And already he kind of gave me a good understanding that he was into mental health and stuff. And that's what we chatted a lot about when we were getting clients and everything. And a few years after I moved to Sydney, which I'm living in currently, he started this channel and I was kind of watching his videos for a little while. And then Mark reached out to me recently, asked me to jump on here and share my story with mental health and all of that. So my Instagram is Heather's Fit Life. Yeah, Heather's_Fit Life. And on there, I talk a lot about this neurological disorder I have and disease and all of my mental health journeys and my weight loss journey and all of that stuff. So if you want to jump on there and check me out, I'd appreciate that. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me. I don't really know what else to say. I'll let Mark lead the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So what kind of, since you left Vancouver, you were working in a gym here. Did you work in a gym at all once you jumped over to Australia?
Actually, I did. So I've worked in a bunch of gyms. So I was managing Anytime Fitness for a while. I was maybe 3-4 months. And then I moved over to Fitness First, which is kind of equivalent of Steve Nash in Australia. So I was working there in sales. So I never did personal training over here physically. But when I first moved to Sydney, I obviously didn't have a job and no source of income for a few months. So I actually did online personal training, which I was trying to launch for a little bit, but then I took a step back from it now and I just do that for myself. So I'm not training people anymore.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And that's a huge move, kind of just to up and pick up from Vancouver.
Yeah.
Jump over to Australia.
It was a good move though. Yeah.
I know a couple
made that
people
decision
that have
overnight.
Really? Because I know a lot of people that have done either for a year to go to school there or just to go and work there for a bit. What made you want to go to Australia?
I was for my whole life growing up in Vancouver and stuff, a lot of people, if you're from Vancouver, you'll know it's a very cliquey area, I find, where I was raised North Vancouver and West Van, and I just never felt like I fit in. So I struggled with that all throughout my teenage and adult years and stuff. And when I finally hit 21, I was kind of at this breaking point where I was I need to do something drastic with my life. Otherwise, I don't know where I'm going to be, because it was just so bad. I didn't feel I had a group of friends. I never felt comfortable in my group of friends when I was going out with them. I wasn't into that bar clubbing scene. I just never felt like I fit in. So I was out with one of my friends and he recently got back from Australia and he was yeah, you should just go there, go do a year, travel around. And I was really, really against the idea. I was no, I just want to buy an apartment and just kind of be a loner and do my own thing. And I went home that night, and I'm pretty sure it was literally that night. I was fuck it, let's do it. I'm buying a plane ticket, booked it for 1 month later. quit my 2 of my jobs and got like rid of everything I owned and brought over a suitcase. And 2 years later, here I am, and I'm loving it. So it was definitely the right decision.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Were you anxious at all before you went?
No, honestly, I was so excited. I was like, the worst thing that can happen is I don't like it and I can move back home and go back to my jobs, go back to my house. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of just like, what's the worst thing that can happen is you don't like it, you come home. Right. And
Yeah.
like all the other material things that I sold, my car, my furniture, I was like, that's all replaceable. But the worst case scenario is I just come home and start over again, you know? So here it's like I've completely started my life from ground up and I'm so happy that I did it.
That's
Yeah,
sweet.
it's been really good.
And so
Mhm.
what kinds of things, like aside from having summer most of the year instead of having rain most of the year, like what kinds of things feel really different
Yeah.
there?
Honestly, Sydney and Vancouver get compared quite similarly. Like the lifestyle is very similar and like everyone's into health and fitness, the outdoors. So instead of going up for a mountain walk, you'll go for a coastal walk by the beach and just going out for breakfast and coffee. And there's still a big drinking culture here, but it's a bit more relaxed compared to like the clubbing scene in Vancouver, which is a lot different. So here you'll have like an afternoon drink on the patio or sitting by the water and then go for a swim, go for a walk. Like it's just a very different lifestyle in that sense. And I feel like I fit in perfectly to that. And like I know you said like the weather, but that's the biggest thing for me is like vitamin D is like the drug of happiness, you know? So it's like people in Vancouver, I think, suffer a lot from like seasonal affectiveness disorder because it's so dreary and dark all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
here I only have that maybe like 1 month of the whole year because it's like this is winter and it's like a bright, hot, sunny day right now, you
Yeah.
know? So I think the weather has been like the biggest thing. Even if it's like not super, super hot, the sun's always out and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I work
Yeah.
with a guy actually from Australia, and he was joking the other day. I was like, "It's pretty warm out today, hey?" And he's like, "Yeah, where's the rest of it?" Like,
Yeah.
like he was kind of
I
just like,
know.
it's only 20 degrees here.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I think I've like climatized so quickly now. Like it's like I say it's a warm winter day, but it's like 15 degrees and I still wear like a puffer jacket outside. You
Wow,
know, and 15 in Vancouver is like wearing dresses and
t-shirt time.
shorts and
Yeah,
just
it's
like going to the
t-shirt
beach.
time.
Yeah, it's funny. So I've definitely climatized for sure. Like I have a hot water bottle right now. I'm kind of freezing sitting inside, but
Wow, it's like
yeah.
I'd say it's like 15 degrees here. I'm wearing a t-shirt and I'm like kind of warm. I'm like, thank goodness I got some
Yeah,
water here.
I know. It's funny the difference, but I truly feel like I was meant to be Australian. I always joke to people, but I'm like I was meant to be born here. Like I love it so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's sick
it's
that you
really
kind of
good.
found that for yourself. What are the odds, hey? Because you could have gone
Yeah,
anywhere.
I know. Yeah, but I always had this like weird fascination with Australia growing up. Like I just loved the animals and the nature documentaries and all those shows about the Australian beaches and stuff. And I've always been a summer girl. So there was always like something in the back of my mind being like, oh, maybe I'll do a trip there someday. But I never thought I would be like making this my permanent home. Fingers crossed if everything works out for me, but that's my goal.
That's sick.
Yeah,
So like I feel like a lot of
it's
people
really
would
cool.
wish they could do that or wish they, like I feel like a lot of people want to not just like move somewhere, but I feel like maybe just travel, but probably move somewhere as well. Like, a lot of people
Yeah,
kind of grow up and they don't really like where they're at or they just want to move away. Like,
yeah.
do you know anyone that's kind of like reached out to you? They're like, how'd you do this? Because I want to do it.
Yeah, I've had a few friends and like fellow coworkers from back home and stuff be like, "Oh, I really want to pack up and move, but I could never do that." And I'm like, "Why? What's stopping you?" They're like, "Oh, my friends and family are here. I have work." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like those are friends in your family. Like if they're truly your friends, they'll be your friends whether you're across the world or living next door to them." And also like this is the only chance in your life that you're going to be able to do it. Like if you're not in a relationship, if you don't have kids, you don't have a mortgage, like now is the time because you have so much time for like settling down later on in life. That's also the thing is a lot of friends have been like, oh, like I don't want to go over by myself, but I'm like, I wouldn't want to come over here with someone. I think the best thing I did was coming over here alone, not knowing anyone, and just like figuring myself out. If that makes any sense,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
You
also,
kind
it's
of
like,
get
what
to
do you
pick
have
like
to
a new
lose? Like,
identity.
yeah, and not even if you need to like restart your life, but it's like you have nothing to lose. Like a job is replaceable, all your furniture you're selling is replaceable, or just put it in storage. Like just try it because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sweet. And
So I
so
don't think it's the thing to be scared of. Yeah.
what kind of improvements have you found like in yourself that you've like have you found any improvements in yourself like since you moved
Oh,
there?
100%. Like I struggled with like anxiety and depression so badly back in Vancouver. And since coming here, I've only maybe had 1 or 2 bad months where I went through a bit of a rocky patch of just jobs or house transitions and stuff. But now I'm like, I'm always, always happy. I've never been so confident and just like self accepting of myself. And I just like, I truly feel like myself. Like I've literally been reborn since moving over here because my aunt and mom came to visit me last July, I think it was. And the second she saw me, she was like, I don't even recognize you because I've never seen you this happy and just like self assured ever in your entire life. You know, and hearing her say that, I was like, shit, okay, this is like definitely where I'm supposed to be then.
That's
Yeah.
sick.
And that was even a year ago. And I'm like, I feel like I'm way happier than I was a year ago. But even when she saw me at that point, she was like, I've never seen you this like happy and content. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's just like the change other people have seen in me too.
That's sweet. I feel like there must be something like
Yeah.
it must like supercharge your self-confidence to be able to just kind of pick up and go somewhere and then kind of rebuild and set up such a like kind of like a
Yeah.
little setup. You know, you got like your place that you're living at, a job now, and you're kind of just like rebuilding
Yeah.
and you've reset your life, right? Like there's got to be something that kind of
Exactly.
feels good about that, right?
It does. And even like the friends here and stuff, like I think it's such a multicultural area where I'm living. And so I live in Manly Beach, which is like a very touristy part of Sydney and everything. It's kind of like Bondi, but a bit more laid back, I'd say. And there's just people from all over the world. So like I have the most diverse group of friends from like the Netherlands, from Poland, from Spain, from Sweden, like Australians, New Zealand's, like all my friend group, they're so multicultural, it's crazy. And that's what I really like as well, is like it just opens up your doors to so many different people and opportunities. And yeah, it's really, really cool seeing that.
That's sweet. And so what kind of
Yeah.
like when you say like you've kind of like your mood has kind of changed quite a bit, like how do you find like that's helped you like on
Mhm.
a day-to-day kind of basis?
I just don't get so down on myself anymore. Like back home in Vancouver, if I had like a low day, I would kind of reflect onto other things or like deflect onto other people. I would lash out at my family members, or I wouldn't want to come into work, and that would affect my job performance or my eating habits, or I would, you know, go out drinking one night to kind of like drink away the emotions and stuff. Whereas here, like if I'm having a bad day, I'll just like put my headphones in, go for a walk by the beach, go for a coastal run, like anything like that, and just get outdoors. And I feel like a complete reset, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. Like it's just like completely the way I like handle my emotions are differently now. Like I won't abuse alcohol. I won't just like eat my emotions, because I also struggled with like a lot of eating disorders throughout my times back in Van, and I haven't struggled with that once since moving over here. So
Mhm.
it's just like the way I handle my emotions is so different. I'll like pick up the phone and call my friends, and I've built such a good group of friends over here now, like probably closer friends than I've ever had in my life back home, except for a few select girls that I'm still obviously best friends with back in Vancouver. But in
Mhm.
such a short time that I've been here, I've made stronger connections that I've never made before. So that's been a
That's
really, really good like support system.
that's sweet. And so I
Yeah.
feel like when you're like kind of in a better mind state, when you're in a fun, like a happier mind state, I feel like your coping mechanism, like
Hmm.
your choices have kind of changed a little bit. Like when you're in a lower,
It does.
like
Yeah.
when you're in a lower mood, or maybe you're like feeling a little bit worse, like I'm kind of the exact same way. Then like my coping
Yeah.
mechanisms are, you know, maybe more towards distractions or partying or things like that, playing video games
Yeah.
even. And then when I'm in a good like kind of
Definitely.
state, then my coping mechanisms completely shift, like takes a 180.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. I think it's also different too, like being back home was like rainy 90% of the time, and you just like sit in your room, like, woe is me, watching Netflix, or just, you know, kind of like really like just staying inside. Whereas here, it's like you just have all the sunshine and so many more things to get outside and do. Like, I never sit at home and just like binge Netflix unless it's like a really, really crappy rainy day. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, that makes a big difference as well as like screen time as well. Like, I think drastically affects your mental health if you don't like. That's what I think though. Is like the less time you spend
Yeah,
like on social media and watching TV and stuff, like the happier you are.
yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
definitely agree. Especially, well, I think that with both, I think that it really is dependent on what kind of content you're intaking all the time. Like if you're watching the
Hmm.
news all the time
That's
and
true.
you have like negativity bombarding you, or if you follow like a certain type of, you know, like Instagram page or Facebook page that's just always kind of giving you
Yeah.
negativity, or just like kind of like shocking you a bit, then you're gonna be like kind of
Yeah.
stunned all day.
Exactly. And I think another thing that I did when I moved over here, it sounds a bit cutthroat, but I'm pretty sure like the first day I got off the plane, I was like unfollowing and unfriending so many people on social media and Facebook that I was like, I don't get anything from looking at your posts, and like we're not friends, so I just don't want you to be in my feed and everything. And that made a big difference as well. So it's like if there's like pages that you constantly follow and they're like massive influencers who are perfect, and every time you look at their account, you feel shit about yourself, it's like unfollow them because you don't need to compare yourself to them. Like all of that's fake anyways.
Hmm.
So that's like another big thing that helped, I think, because I got so wrapped up in like wanting to be like those cool girls or wanting to be skinny and fit and have like millions of followers, and I'd like obsess over it. And now I'm just like, no, I'll just do my own thing and make it happen for myself, but not
Yeah.
comparing those people.
Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
I feel like definitely the people that you follow and the people that you looked at all the time, I feel like naturally we want to be like what we see all the time, especially if we see
Yeah.
that they get a positive response from it, then we want that as well, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
so when you say like you said, like I'm just going to do my own thing on Instagram, I'm just going to kind of share my story. Like
Mhm.
what does that kind of look like? Let's jump into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, okay. So this really, really excites me. So I was born with this condition called neofibromatosis. So what it is basically you get tumors growing all over your body, so internally, externally. I only have type 1 luckily, but there's type 2 and type 3. So type 2 and type 3 are when there's like a lot of like cancerous growths that become so large you have to get amputations or you have to get brain surgery or all of that stuff. So I don't have that luckily. Mine's only quite minor. But that's what I was born with. And it took me years and years and years to come to terms with it because there's no cure for it. There's no way to manage it. It's just, it is what it is. And a lot of the things when you look online, they're really depressing, they're scary, there's really horrible graphic images, and that's instantly where your mind goes to. But for me, coming over here, I kind of wanted to like start sharing my story with it and sharing like my fitness journey and mental health journey and weight loss journey with it and like how I found my confidence in myself. And like my kind of idea with like my Instagram was to kind of become like an influencer, but not in like that massive sense, just kind of like a mental health influencer for people that have this disease. Because I think that they do need someone to like look up to and a voice of hope in that sense. So I've been like posting a lot about it recently. And then recently the Children's Tumor Foundation of Sydney contacted me, and they're local to me and everything. And they're like, hey, we really love what you're doing. We'd love to meet with you and have a chat and stuff. And so I met them for coffee a couple of weeks ago. Everything went really well. And they basically want me to jump on board and be like an ambassador for them and just like go to like mental health group chats and do it seminars and charity events and all of that stuff. So I'm really, really excited to be working with them and kind of like becoming this voice for everyone who has this. So I never thought that would ever happen. And I didn't even know there was like foundations out there like this because back in Canada, I've never really heard about it. So here it's been massive for me for that. So it's just been really interesting. Yeah.
That's really, really cool. That's really sick. Congratulations. I'm
Yeah.
really happy
Thank
that you've
you.
been able to not only just voice that, because I feel like that's a brave thing to do,
Yeah.
is be able to just voice it like that.
Hmm.
But then now that you're able to kind of speak to, other people and especially like young kids that are dealing with it, like that's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, as soon as I started talking about it, I would get like so many messages on Instagram from parents saying, like, looking at your, like, even a simple photo of me, like, wearing a bikini at the beach has such an impact on people because they're like, I never thought I could have confidence to wear a bathing suit, but you can, so I'll do it. Or you're giving me hope that my daughter can grow up being confident like you, blah, 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 blah. And it's just been so, like, it's been so like, really powerful just hearing all those messages and having people reach out to me constantly on a daily basis. And I've been in really close contact with a few of them. I've become friends with a few girls in England who have this condition. And it's brought me together with a lot of people that I never thought I'd connect with. So
That's
yeah,
so
it's really cool.
that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm
So
excited.
when could you say you're going to be doing like group chats and stuff like that? Like I'm assuming it's going to start on Zoom
Hmm.
because of you. Like I don't know what gathering is like over there.
Probably. Yeah. I think well, they have a Zoom, like a weekly Zoom seminar anyways already going on. So I'm not going to be working with them probably for another 2 weeks or so. We just have to like put together more of a blog post for me and like have a web page launch and everything. Sorry, I'm like stumbling on my words. But then pretty soon
I
I'll be
do it all
starting to
day.
talk at like seminars and all of that. So yeah, it'll definitely be over Zoom right now though, nothing in person. But yeah,
That's
it's
sweet though.
exciting.
That's really sweet. And so
Yeah.
like, because you're going to be giving advice to, you know, kind of like kids and things like that, like what do you think that you wish you heard when you were like kind of younger, struggling with this?
I
Like,
think when I was younger, I would have wanted to hear like people don't notice it as much as you think they do. And also like you don't have to worry until you have a reason to worry. That's the biggest thing I can say because a lot of the times doctors would just be like freaking out about it and stuff and making me really anxious and like insecure about it. And they would kind of treat me like this like zoo animal when I would walk into the doctor's office because it's so rare. Like hardly any doctors actually see people with the cases. So they would come in and start poking me and looking at all my bumps and I'm like, okay, can you just like treat me like a normal person? But I think that really triggered it when I was younger to like really be ashamed of my body and really cover up and just not ever want to talk about it. So I think whenever I talk to the parents now on Instagram who message me, I'm like, tell your kids it's okay. Tell them like they're going to be all right. Like, you know, unless they have like a really, really bad like tumor growing in their brain, then you don't need to worry about it because here I am and I'm thriving and everything. I've only had to have two removed in my lifetime and that didn't even affect me. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't cause like fear out of something until you actually have a reason to worry. Because then you're just living your life in like fear and anxiety the entire time.
yeah, no kidding. And so do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like
Yeah.
having this new outlook, or do you feel like having this new mindset that you have shaped around it? Like how did you, like, when do you think that that kind of shifted?
I don't want to like make it sound like it all was because of like getting in shape and losing weight, but I think that really, really sparked it for me was becoming really confident with myself. And like I've said this on so many other posts on Instagram, but like the gym literally changed my life. Like stepping foot into the gym for the first time, lifting weights, seeing my body change and seeing like just building confidence in myself. Like the gym just gave me so much hope and confidence, and the endorphins just made me happier. And that was like my biggest saving grace in life, the gym. So that's why I'm also so obsessed with fitness and nutrition and eating well and not drinking that much. And that's just like completely changed who I am today. And I think even moving over here, I've become in way better shape and my eating habits have gotten even better. And I just live such a healthy lifestyle now. Like I just can't help but love who I am, like flaws and all. I'm like, it's fine. Like, I'm so confident with who I am. I don't really care that I have tumors growing all over me. I'm like, fuck it. It is what it is. Like, I'm going to make the best out of the situation. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you can't, there's like nothing you can do about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so how
Yeah.
do you
I don't
think
know.
that
Yeah.
that's kind of like shaped kind of like who you are as a person? Because I feel like those things that you kind of overcome, like I feel like every person I know that, not just anything physical, but any adversities they've had to overcome, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's something that they could attribute to, you know, their maybe like their personality or their mindset. Like how do you think that that's kind of helped?
Yeah. I think, I don't know, I feel like when you talk to kids that were like sick kids growing up, like they're always the ones that I don't want to say like I've come out the stronger in the end, but I have like it's made me really appreciate life and like look at things differently and also appreciate everyone for who they are. Cause like I also had scoliosis. So I had scoliosis surgery when I was like 11 or 12 years old, and overcoming that was a challenge as well. And I just think like every little hurdle that I've faced, it's just made me like enjoy life a little bit more because it makes me so grateful for what I have. You know what I mean? So that's made me really strong. That's made me super confident and happy and friendly to people and like so accepting of like everyone, no matter their shape, size, race, gender, sexual orientation. Like I'm just like, everyone has their own story, everyone has their own struggle. And it's just like you have to be accepting of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so,
If that answers, yeah.
pardon me?
I was gonna say if that answers your question, I think I went on a bit of a tangent there,
Yeah,
but
no, that's good. That's good. I like that because it is kind of true. Like any of my friends that I look up to a lot, or any people actually in my life that I look up to a lot, I find, you know,
yeah,
there's not just like maybe one or like two significant events, but I feel like they're just kind of, you know, good at overcoming adversities or good at overcoming stress. And I feel like that starts at a young age. And that was always
it
something
does.
like I
Yeah.
kind of, you know, like I always wish that I could look back and like, I don't know if you get this, but like I always look back and I'm like, oh, I wish I kind like could go back to that age, but I know everything that I know now.
Yeah. Shit, that would make life so much easier if we could, honestly. But that's also why I want to be that person that like those little girls and boys look up to. Like I want to be that voice that tells them like it's okay, your life is going to get better, I promise you. Like because you know like you it's so sad like thinking about how young I was when I first got depression, and it's like it's just heartbreaking to like go. I went home recently last year and I was like reading my old journal entries and it broke my heart to see like how sad I was, and I'm like fuck, if I could just go back now and be like, your life is going to be amazing, just give it a couple of years. Like, I wish I could do that. So I want to be that voice to give all those little kids suffering with mental illnesses and just tell them, like, it will be okay. Like, don't ever give up because you will be okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, I wish we could go back or send ourselves a letter and just be like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
And do you think that, like, because you said that when you started working out, you started kind of, getting more of a body composition that you were looking for.
Hmm.
You started feeling a lot better. Was that before or after you wanted to kind of become a personal trainer?
That was kind of in the middle of it, actually. So I was living up in Kelowna doing photography school, and I struggled a lot with like drinking problems and eating disorders during that stage. So I put on a lot of weight, as you kind of do when it's like your first year of college as well.
Hmm.
And that's, I got really, really insecure. And I like signed up at this gym. And like I've always been into like fitness, kind of like yoga and dance and stuff, but I never like actually understood the process of it and nutrition side of things. And I met one of the girls in my classes, and she was like a professional bodybuilder. So she kind of introduced me into lifting weights. And then maybe like 4 or 5 months after that, I just kind of became obsessed with it and started following all those like fitness influencers on YouTube and Instagram. That was when they all started really getting big. And
Hmm.
that's where that like obsession with it came in, being like, oh my God, I want to like be a fitness girl. And then I actually dropped out of photography school, moved home, and got my online certification, and then joined Nash. And then I got approached by one of the trainers there asking like, hey, like I see you in the gym all the time, like maybe you should become a personal trainer for us. And I was like, oh, I'm actually thinking of doing that. Had my interview, and then a month later I was hired. So it just kind of all happened really quickly and just at the same time. Yeah.
That's sweet. And so what do you think that was like kind of your, well, I guess like a better question is, even though you're not doing it now, like, was it something that you really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed doing? Do you kind of,
I did. Yeah. I like, nothing makes me happier as well than like seeing like change in my friends and clients' bodies and seeing them get confidence in themselves. And it's not always about weight loss, but it's just building that confidence. Like you can walk into a gym, have a good session, and walk out feeling 10 times happier just because of the endorphins. So
Mhm.
like being able to teach people that was a really, really big thing for me. And like I love nutrition. I love recipes. So I would just like spend so much time with my clients going over food and meal ideas and not to restrict, and just teaching them like the importance of nutrition and how it affects you long term as well. And I gained some really, really good friendships out of that. I have one client that I talk to all the time. Like she's one of my best friends, and it's changed so much for me. Like it was just like life changing being a personal trainer. It wasn't like a long term thing, but it was a short term thing, and it really benefited me because I just loved making people happy and like wanting to make them love themselves. Like that's my end goal in life.
Yeah, why do you
Yeah.
think it is that, fitness is such a good avenue or a way of, boosting confidence? Why do you think it is that it kind of helps us feel good? Like aside from like the
I think
physical
it is.
aspect.
Yeah, I just think it comes down to endorphins. That's like the happy drug. You know, after a good workout or a run, like you always hear the term runner's high, and that's exactly what it is. Like you get high off those endorphins and you feel so happy, like you can like take on the world, and it's like an endless cycle. It's like after you do that once, you're like, fuck yeah, I can't wait to go back in and do another session and lift heavier. And then once you start seeing your body change, you're like, oh, this is kind of like a fun side effect of working out. And then you get more confident, and it's just, but not, again, that like comes back to like the whole body culture thing too. It's like you can still be a size like 20 and love your body, and that's totally fine. But and like you can still be in really, really good shape. Like you see power lifters and stuff, like everyone's bodies are so different. It doesn't mean being skinny or fat, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't
Hmm.
matter what your body looks like, you can still love fitness and get the same effects from it and still be confident, just because those endorphins completely change how your mind works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like there's always just something about, that feeling when like it's, because the endorphins you get after the workout, but I feel like there's something about,
Mm-hmm.
like the before the workout, sometimes when you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, and then you just do it
Yeah.
anyways. Like I feel like that's
Oh
like
yeah,
such
I
a
have,
confidence
yeah.
boost.
It just 100% is. There's been so many mornings where I'm like, I do not want to be in the gym right now. I need like 3 shots of coffee to get me going. But then as soon as you just start lifting weights or start seeing everyone else in the gym at like 5 a.m. training, you're like, okay, I'll just get through it. And then once you finish, you're like, oh my God, I can take on the world. It's so nice that I like did a workout this morning. And you always feel better after it. And even like some days I go into the gym and I do 20 minutes of cardio and I'm like, that's it. That's my workout. That's all I'm doing for today. Other days I'll spend 2, 3 hours just having fun and doing a full body workout and talking to my friends. And it's like, there's no time limit for myself when I go in there. I'm like, I'm doing whatever I want to do, and I'm happy with it when I'm done. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
And so I like when you went through like kind of your mindset shift, or when you felt like you were kind of improving in terms of like confidence and kind of wanting to be able to like share your story, really, like
Yeah.
what were some indicators like that you kind of knew like, okay, yeah, I feel like I am a bit more confident now, or I am able to share my story at this point? Like, how did you kind of know?
I think it was when I started. It's interesting, like my Instagram didn't really start to build until I moved over here. And once I started getting like some meeting friends or stuff out at like the bars or the gym and stuff, wherever I'd meet people, they'd be like, "Oh, your Instagram's so inspiring. Like I really like have so much respect for what you're doing and your transformation and your journey." Like I just kept getting like a little bit of like positive reinforcements from like random people all over. And that just really started to fuel that I was like, okay, maybe I actually do have a purpose, and it's, not just training people, but it's also talking about mental health and this disease that I have and like everything. And that was when I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to be so open on my Instagram and start posting what I want to post, and don't worry about looking like a glamorous fitness girl. And like, you know what I mean? I was like, I just want to be really raw and authentic. And since then, I've gotten nothing but positive feedback, and is opening up many more doors of opportunity now for me, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so much to, I feel like there's like so much advice that you could give between like kind of like anxiety and depression, and it's NF1, right?
Yeah, NF1.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's neurofibromatosis is the actual disease, but I just have NF1.
right.
Yeah.
I just feel like with all that going on, there's so much that you could share. I feel like that's like kind of a perfect position for you as like kind of like an
Yeah,
ambassador for that whole thing.
exactly. And I mean, now working at the Children's Foundation, like that's going to open up so many more doors for me. So I can't even imagine like where that could potentially lead me in like 5 years time, like it's really cool to think that I'm starting to actually work with something like that. Because like
Yeah,
talking to me, like if you talked to me 10 years ago and said that I'll be like the face of that disease, I'd be like, no way, I don't want that. I don't want anything to do with it. Like I really shamed away from it. And now I'm like, fuck yeah, like that's who I am. Like shout it from the rooftop. Like I don't care.
that's really
Yeah. So
sick.
I'm really
That's really
excited
sick.
about it.
And
Yeah.
so when you were a kid, do you think that if you saw this kind of like foundation or something like this going on, do you think that you would have gravitated towards it? Or do you think that like,
Maybe. I think it depends like who they would be showing on it, because sometimes you see photos of kids that have really bad like tumors or in the hospital or they have amputations, and like that kind of is a sad, like it's not sad to look at, but it does break your heart a little bit because you feel bad for them and you're like, oh my God, they're going through so much at such a young age. And like it is really sad. And I know there's going to be some moments where I'm like talking at seminars and I'm just going to like, I 100% going to start crying because it's going to be really confronting and stuff. But I think if I like saw that page growing up, I would need to see someone who's like confident and fit and happy and just kind of like a really normal looking person. Like you wouldn't look at them and think they have this. And that's kind of how I want to do it. That's how I want to present myself. Because it's like, if you look closely, you can see all my tumors, but it's not like confronting. And I think that's what a lot of people need to see, because of course, with every disease, whenever you look it up on Google and stuff, like they always show you the worst cases, the worst photos, like you'll only see the worst of it. You never see the good side of things unless it's like a really rare post that you read. So, and that's also why all the parents message me saying like, you're the only good thing I've seen on this on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm like, well, fuck, that's like incredible to me that I'm the only good person posting about it. Like I shouldn't be. There's so many more people out there who have it, and like probably way minor than me, who don't even want to talk about it. But I
yeah,
want to be that person that's just like the normal look, like, you know what I mean? Is I don't know if that makes sense, but like I don't want people to be
no,
like scared of it, because it's
yeah,
not something to be scared of unless you have to be scared for it, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of know like if it's going to be like life threatening.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think like if I was younger and like saw someone like me, I'd be like, I would love myself way more. 100% I would have. So that's like, I want to be like that role model for like my little childhood Heather, Like I want to be that
Yeah.
girl that like I would look up to when I was younger. Yeah.
And do you think
So it's
that
cool. It's exciting.
like obviously a lot of people that have this probably do suffer from not just like depression but also anxiety, right? Like probably like I
They
can
do.
see
Yeah.
like social anxiety or
Yep. They always message me also saying like, how do you date? How do you like put yourself out there? How do you make friends and tell people about it? And I'm like, I just live my normal life. I'm like, I don't have an issue meeting people. I don't have an issue making friends. Like it's just who I am. And like, I'll tell you when I want to tell you about it, or you'll look on my Instagram and I'm like telling you in every single post. So it's just like, it's just another thing about me. It's just, I feel like it's just like looking at someone and having like freckles, you know, it's like
Yeah.
some people who have freckles are really insecure about it. I have bumps. So like, it is what it is, you know? So I think that's also what a lot of people suffer with, is they think people are going to judge them and think they're gross or don't want to be friends with them because of it. And I'm like, no one actually gives a shit. Like literally no one does. Like every single person I've told is like, oh my God, like I didn't know you had that, but like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. They're like, sweet, awesome. Let's like go for coffee. You know, like no one
Yeah.
actually cares. You're the only one who cares so much about it. Like no one gives a shit. So that's the thing. Like you have to tell yourself that. Like don't be insecure about it, because everyone is insecure about something else. You know?
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like everyone kind of has that feeling. I feel like it's only when it's like a visual, like something maybe that we feel like is obvious, then
Yeah.
like we feel like everyone else pays attention to it just because we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I like read something on this fitness post the other day saying like your current body right now is someone's like dream body. So it's like never be insecure with what you have, because what you look like now and what you have currently is someone's like life goal, you know? So like everyone's always chasing after something that they don't have, but it's like actually you're in a perfect position for where you need to be right now,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah,
So
and
that's
most of
also
the time
like,
you can always still keep working, right? Like even if you're in a spot where you're not happy, it's like, well,
exactly. You can always work to change it then.
yeah, and like we got like pretty like I feel like this is like the best time to kind of get into fitness because there's like apps, there's so much info online.
100%. Yeah.
Like I feel like maybe like 50 years ago it might have been like way harder to get the information.
Of
And
course.
I
Yeah.
feel like this is kind of like the best
I
time.
know. I kind of feel like this whole thing has been like a blessing in disguise. Like it's really made people slow down and appreciate life a little bit more. It's been a big wake up call for so many people. And I mean, it's terrible what's going on, but I honestly do think it's been a blessing in disguise in some way. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
or at least like I like that you can kind of like, even if you like, because it obviously is a pretty negative situation, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's refreshing to have someone that, you know, finds like the positive in those types of areas.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it sucks. Like, can't like see your family and stuff, and people are so sick and dying. But like at the end of the day, if you're healthy and your family's healthy, like you have it pretty good. So, you know, like whenever you see people complaining about even like the gyms being shut down or the bars being closed, it's like just do a fucking home workout. Like you don't need, you know what I mean? Like just stay home and do your thing. Like it doesn't actually matter. But yeah, it's a
Yeah,
whole other topic. But you know,
yeah.
it's just
I
like
mean,
you have to make the best out of a worse situation. That's the simple thing of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like even if you don't agree with locking down or having businesses shut down, or if you do, I don't really like, it doesn't matter to me where you
Yeah.
kind of fall. That being said, you do have to kind of learn how to adapt because
Yeah, 100%.
like you and I just don't really get to make the rules. So like you kind
No,
of just have to
exactly.
adapt, right?
Yeah. And like I had fun with it all. Like during lockdown here, like I like wasn't one of the ones to like run out and buy all the weights. So I took wine bottles, filled them up with dirt and water and made weights out of wine bottles, and like used a skateboard as an ab roller. You just like get creative and it's fun. So I kind of had
Yeah.
fun with that, to be honest. I was like, okay, like what can I do today? And just running around the kitchen in circles doing laps. Like it is what it is. Yeah, you make the best out of it.
Yeah, I definitely slid off the wagon in some ways. Like there was ways that I was, you know, not eating the best or,
Mhm.
you know, just kind of, I was pretty on point with my sleeping schedule, even though I'm thrown off a little bit more now. But I'd say
Yeah.
like the number one thing that kind of helped me out stay like mentally sane through the whole thing, especially now because like businesses are kind of opening up now. I'm like back to
Yeah.
full-time work, so I feel like it's like
Yeah,
mostly open. And I feel
for
like the
sure.
main thing that kind of got me through it was just kind of like changing it all together. Like I just didn't lift really at all. I would do like a little bit of push-ups, pull-ups, but mainly just like running and
Yeah.
doing cardio, like stuff that I wasn't used to doing.
Yeah, exactly. I know even for me, like I never used to go on like a daily walk or hike and stuff. Like I would go for like a 10-15 minute one, but I would never go for a solid hour. And then every day I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to this big coastal walk up to this lookup point. And that was an hour, hour and a half every single morning. And it just became really, really good. Like it was a good habit that I built. And now I try to do it a couple times a week now. So yeah, I built some good habits out of it for sure.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. So what, like, with, obviously I don't want you to give away too much information, but in the next couple of weeks when you start working, you know, at your new position, is that going to be like a complete full-time position? Is that going to be a full like change of employment?
So it's not going to be like a job or anything. It's more like an influencer ambassador position with them. So they're like a nonprofit society. So it's like, I'm not going to be working for them, but I'm going to be like working with them, you know? So they're just going to put me in contact with a marketing agency and stuff as well to get my Instagram potentially under some management to also help me boost my profile and presence. So they're really wanting to help grow me as a business and also help me like reach out to their foundation. Yeah, so it'll be cool. So I don't really know what they have in store for me. We've only met once so far, but we've been emailing back and forth trying to figure some things out. So it's really exciting because it could open up so many doors, and even just to speak to like one group a week would be amazing for me. I'd be excited for that. And I do know in September it's like National NF month, so they have a big foundation, like a big fundraiser and stuff set up, and hopefully with like COVID it actually is allowed to happen, but I definitely want to do some big fundraiser for that. And yeah, so I don't know what I'll do. They usually go like bungee jumping or they shave your head for it. So I'm like, let's see. I don't know if I'm going to shave my head, but maybe I'll go bungee jumping and like raise a bunch of money and do that. So we'll see. But it's exciting. So there's a few things that I know I have like lined up for the future with them. Yeah.
It's wicked.
That's cool.
That's really, really, really
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right.
Yeah.
That is so sick. So like what, like would you make that type of thing like a job if you could?
Yeah, if it led to full-time work and like say even sponsorship down the road, 100%, I'd be open to it. Yeah, it's like I am very passionate about it, and I'm like, well, it's my life. It's very predominant in my life, so I might as well make a living off of it. You know what I mean? But I think ideally it would be more through like social media and like marketing and stuff side of things. But if the opportunity comes knocking, I'll open the door and say, sure, let's do it. You know, I'm very open to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
It'd be fun.
Like, do you,
Yeah.
I feel like because you came from like a personal training background and now you're gonna kind of going to be going into like a position like this where you still get to kind of, you know, help people get closer to a position where they want to be in. Like,
yeah.
What do you think kind of draws you towards that all the time?
I think, I don't know. I just like, I don't know why I'm so obsessed with like wanting people to be happy, but I think it's because like I struggled so much with like depression and stuff. Like I never thought in a million years I'd be like alive at 23 years old or 24 now. Yeah, 24. You know what I mean? And it's like for me, like I'm so obsessed with that, like telling people like it will be okay. Your life will drastically change. Like I'm so obsessed with people knowing that and accepting themselves and finding happiness. Like that's just been my life goal now. That's all I care about is telling people to like be happy and love themselves. And that's just like my end goal at the end of the day. Yeah. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with it. I'm just like, I'm so passionate about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you said earlier, I feel like that kind of is like your purpose.
Yeah. And I'm finally realizing that, like seeing that like foundations are contacting me, that all the parents are messaging me. I'm like, okay, I could do this. Like this actually is like kind of working out for me. So yeah, it's exciting.
Do you think that like being able to just actually like literally find your purpose was something that kind of helped shift your mind state and kind of helped you with this whole thing as well?
100%. Yeah, because I think when I was living back home, I was just like, okay, I'm a personal trainer. I'm working at a bar doing waitressing and stuff. I was like, I can't do this forever, but I didn't have an end goal. And I was just like, well, what am I doing? I'm just making money, you know? So my obsession was just to make money and become rich, right? That was all I was doing in Vancouver. Whereas when I moved here, I'm like, I'm pretty poor because I'm only on 20 hours a week right now because of my student visa, but I am like 1,000 times happier. So, and I've like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like more money, more problems and stuff. And also moving over here was just like life changing the way my finances shifted, my friend life shifted and all of that. So yeah, like I've kind of realized my purpose isn't just to like have money. There's so much more to life than that. So it's made me like really appreciate what I do have and then actually put time and energy into things that I want to change in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that everyone has that, like a purpose or like something to fulfill or?
100%. Yeah, I think everyone does, obviously. It's just a matter of like if they want to find it or if they're happy living their like day-to-day life at the 9 to 5 job in the city. Like everyone has different goals in life, and some people love just like working 9 to 5, making money, going out partying, and that's fine by me. Like that's your life, but that's not how I want to live mine. So whatever makes you happy. I always just say like you do you, whatever you want to do. But I think everyone does have some purpose. It's just not everyone has that voice to share. You know what I mean? They don't have that motivation to share it.
Yeah. How do you think that people could find their purpose if they haven't already? Like, what do you think?
I think it just comes down to like who you surround yourself with too. Like what motivates you in life, like figure out like what you've been through. And if there's, I don't know, it's just maybe not everyone does. I don't know. It depends on what you want to accomplish out of life and what makes you happy. Like for some people, their purpose is being a good banker, or their purpose is being a gym manager, you know? And it's like they're still changing lives, they're still affecting people, they're still doing what they're supposed to do. Like not everyone's going to be like a famous mental health person, but that's okay, you know, because you still need everyone else to keep the world running. So it's like everyone's doing their own thing, if that makes sense. Like I don't know how to say it, but like everyone has a purpose, and whatever they're doing is fine as long as they're happy at the end of the day. Yeah. Like don't feel the pressure to have to be this amazing like spokesperson for every single thing in life. Like you don't have to. As long as you're happy, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe
Yeah.
like your purpose doesn't always need to like solely be like your career. Like it could be, you know, the like maybe like the way you treat people, or maybe like a child you
Yeah.
raise, or it could be like anything.
Exactly. Right. And that's the thing. You see a lot of like single parents and stuff raising their kids, and society sometimes looks at them and say like, oh, like you left your job for this, or, and it's like, no, well, they're raising a family. Like that's their purpose, or they're a really good cook, or they're a really good parent, or a really good singer, or whatever. Like everyone has their own purpose, and it doesn't have to be like life changing, but they're doing something that changes someone's life. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like as long as,
You know, as long as they're happy
yeah, it
and they
is hard
serve
to kind
everyone
of like
properly,
put
I think
words to it.
that's, yeah. I know I'm really bad at speaking sometimes. My words just like jumble together, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as long as you kind of bring like your passion or your like talent or skill, like if you can bring it to life somehow, I feel like that could be your purpose. Like if you could
100%.
manifest it
Yes.
either physically or emotionally, so that like either people could experience it or witness
Yeah.
it being experienced, I feel like that's kind of like the purpose, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm getting pretty much lost for words at this point,
Me
and
too. Yeah.
and I'm super stoked that we got to do this out. Honestly, like
Me
this has
too.
been
Yeah,
a
it was
really nice
good.
shift for my day, because I was kind of like, it's 8:00 p.m. here now, so I'm
Oh,
like
wow.
getting ready
Like
for bed.
only 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
getting ready for
And it's
bed.
a big time difference as well.
Yeah, you're living in the future. You're living
I
tomorrow.
am. I know. There we go. Time
That's so
travel's
sick.
real.
So did you know that actually I'm about to throw all the pressure on you? Did you know that? This is the
What are you
coolest.
gonna do?
Yeah, this is the coolest part
Oh
actually. So
God.
the best part about me is I'm lazy, and you kind of know that already, that I like to just like pass off responsibilities. So I'm gonna get you to just
Yep.
kind of I'm gonna get you to do my outro for me, and
Okay.
I'm gonna say thank you for everyone to watch, because this is pretty much the last thing I'll say. But I just give like
Yeah,
kind of
sweet.
like, you get to, like, shout out your Instagram, shout out like what you do, obviously, one more time, so people can find you on Facebook, your website, whatever content you're putting out. This is your time
Yeah.
to throw that out there, but on one condition: you got to spread some positivity for people. So you got to give a positive message for people as well, and that's how we're gonna end this off.
Okay. Oh, pressure's on. All
I
right.
know.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. It was lovely having a chat with Mark and reconnecting after like probably 2 years since we last properly spoke to each other.
Mhm.
That was really, really good. Again, my Instagram handle is Heathers_FitLife. So jump on there, give me some love and a follow. And if you ever need to message me about anything, like even if it's like the simplest problem, message me. I'm chatting all the time to people on there, helping them with their daily struggles and stuff. So my message is always open. You can even message me on Facebook, which is just Heather Retlane. Give me a friend request, whatever you want to do. I'm always here for you. And I guess my like little thing of positivity thing, the positivity thing for the day is just like, you do you, as long as you're happy, live your life. And, you know, like, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Like, no problem is too small to ask for help, no matter what it is. Just reach out to whoever is in your life that you feel comfortable doing that to. And if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to someone in your life, message someone random on Instagram, you know, someone's account that you love following, just shoot them a message and they're probably open to chat. So just do that. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help, because no problem is too small. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I hope to do this again soon. It was really good. Okay.
Of course,
Good.
100%. Thank you so much. And that is it. Peace out.
Of course. All right. Bye.